Friends and family, welcome back. I'm Tanner WJ, and it's been a while. I hope you missed me too. I missed making these little videos. In this video, I'm going to be explaining all 23 Oscar categories because this Sunday is the Academy Awards. And Academy Awards Sunday is one of my personal favorite nights of the year. Yeah, what's up?
It's me!
Okay, what do you need? I'm kind of in the middle of something. Well, I'm in the middle of recording a video right now about the Oscars. What do you need help with?
I need help with the Oscars. You sent me a ballot, and I want to fill it out.
Yeah, I can help you with that a little bit later after I finish this video. I can help you a little later. Sorry. Okay, cool.
Sorry.
Help you later. Bye. Sorry about that. Back to what I was talking about. So yeah, right in this video, I'm going to explain all 23, which is less than last year, categories of the Academy Awards. I'm going to start with the feature film categories. So those are international feature, which is, this category used to be best foreign language film, but I think 2 years ago, they switched it to being the best feature-length film made by a primarily non-American company that's primary language also happens to not be English. This category is pretty simple and self-explanatory. It's the best of these films, and this category, like most Academy Award categories, always has 5 nominees. The next feature-length film category I want to talk about and explain is the best animated feature. Again, this one's pretty self-explanatory. Any animated film. This can be claymation, stop motion, 3D animation, it can be hand-drawn animation. Different kinds of animation are often featured in this category. The third feature-length film category is documentary. These are any full-length documentaries can be nominated, and I don't know, that's another one that's pretty self-explanatory. I think you probably get what I'm talking about. So the next types of award categories I want to talk about are the short award categories. So like documentary short subject, animated short, live action short, those are the 3 categories. What?
What is a short film?
Actually, that's what I'm doing. I'm talking about the categories. So you should come sit down with me, and if you have questions as I explain or don't explain something good, you can help me out. So
I have all the questions.
So come sit down. So I'm explaining the categories of the Academy Awards, and you can help me out. So your question is, what's a short? So like, what's a short compared to a feature-length film? Is that what you mean?
37 minutes? 25 minutes? 45 minutes is short too?
A short film is any film that is under 40 minutes in length. So it can be exactly 40 minutes or shorter. So the 3 short categories are documentary short subject, which is a documentary that is short, an animated short, which is again is any form of animation that is shorter than 40 minutes, and a live action short. And this one can be any film that is live action, so not animated as its primary form of storytelling, that is shorter than 40 minutes. So oftentimes a lot of the short live action films are actually international films. So, yeah. The next 2 categories are maybe ones that you'll be able to tell me about too, because you know more about music than me by a lot, but are the musical categories. So the first one is original song. The main thing you have to remember about the best original song is it has to be a piece of music or a song that is written specifically for the film. So it can't just be music that's already existed. But I'm actually not sure if it has to be like have lyrics in it or not. But,
actually,
yeah.
The definition of a song is that it has to have words. Otherwise, it's just a piece of music.
Well, there you go. There you have it. So original song, it's going to be music with the lyrics. Heard it here today. The next musical category is original score. And this is another one you probably could help us out with. What's the difference between a score and a soundtrack?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. A score is music written specifically for the movie. And it is that background music that you hear throughout the movie. And a soundtrack is just a nice, mixed tape for your girlfriend.
And I mean, you pretty much hit the gist of it. It's like an original score is written for the music for the film, and it's the background music usually, or the music that plays during the credits. It often are pieces of music as opposed to songs, but sometimes they can include songs. It's just typically when we think of a soundtrack, you're right. You think of a bunch of bops you can play in the car and jam out to on your long road trip. In addition to these musical categories, there's another category that's not musical but also has to do with sound, and that is Best Sound. Technically, the name of the category is for Best Achievement in Sound. And in former years, this was actually two different... Two different categories. One being sound mixing and the other being sound editing. But this is the first year where they have slapped those two categories together, and it's just one category, Best Sound. The best achievement in sound goes to the film that does the best job of making sure that all the voices are audible, so all the objects and events that you see happening in the film sound like what you would expect them to sound like. For example, in space movies where there's lasers and explosions in space, those aren't things that we know what they sound like. Most people haven't been to space and experienced those. But the sound designers, their job is to make it sound like what we would expect it to sound like. Or when you see somebody walking around, it should sound like they're walking on gravel if they're walking on gravel. Or floor if they're doing whatever Alyssa's doing right now. So that's the gist of what sound is. No longer mixing and editing. Now it's just one Best Achievement in Sound award. There are other technical awards, one of those being Best Cinematography. Cinematography is any camera work. Glad we did the same motion for that. Any camera work. So it's the film that does the most interesting use of their camera, so the best looking shots or the most interesting camera movements.
Hey.
Yeah, hey. The next technical award I want to talk about is Best Visual Effects. Best Visual Effects is what everybody expects it to be. It's the best After Effects or even practical effects applied to a film.
What's practical about effects? Okay,
so a practical effect versus a CGI effect is something that is done on set or done physically, so things are moved around. Whereas a... It
was a real flag. It wasn't CGI.
Oh, that's what you were doing. You were doing a bit. I thought you were just playing with the things.
That was a practical event.
Okay. Or VFX is where they're doing things in post with the computers and stuff. Both of these count as visual effects. Am I boring you?
No.
Yeah, both of those count as visual effects. The next category I want to talk about is film editing. Do you know about film editing?
Well, that's when you, take out all the dumb stuff I say, and then you splice it back.
Sure, yeah, that's basically it. Film editing is where you take all the different clips that are shot. Oftentimes when you make a movie, people I understand the concept of multiple shots. It's picking which shots to use. It's also how long there is between those shots, when you switch to what shot. All of these different things are film editing. And basically what I like to think about when I'm thinking about film editing is that films with good editing, you don't notice the editing. Films with really bad editing, you notice because they feel jarring or they feel really badly paced. Pacing is an editing thing. Really good editing, sometimes you do notice because it does interesting things and it combines with the sound mixing and the cinematography to help tell the story. The next one is production design that I want to talk about. Production design is creating the entire feel of a film. So, for example, often you'll see the timepieces. Yeah, sure. The stuff I've got behind me would be my production design. But also when you have a movie that's set in a different time period, making sure it actually feels and looks like it's in that time period or that specific place. It's making it feel like that. So set building is often what you'll hear people talk about when they're talking about production design. But it's not the only thing that goes into production design. It's just probably the thing that's the simplest to understand and grasp and gets the most attention. Honestly, the next two categories I want to talk about could be considered parts of production design. And those are costume design and makeup and hairstyling. I think those are two pretty self-explanatory categories. Alissa did the costume design for this video, at least her costume design. So it's just what people are wearing in the film. If it's looks good and looks beautiful, that's who wins that award. Makeup and hairstyling is the hair and the makeup. Often this will go to movies that have like aliens or monsters, because if those monsters and aliens are not created with visual effects and computer animation, they're usually with giant masks and stuff. So that's makeup or hairstyling. Now let's get into what are considered more of the bigger categories.
Bigger? Better?
Maybe some... not better, but more recognizable. For example, acting. That's more recognizable by most people just because we see the actors, we know who they are, we know their names, their faces, they're familiar to us.
They're pretty important.
And they think they are pretty important. So there's 4 acting categories. 2 for men and 2 for women. Men? Women. And then there are 2 supporting acting categories and then 2 lead acting categories. These are pretty simple. It's the people that you feel did the best at doing the role they had in their film as a lead or a support. Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay. What's up?
This year there's an actor. He was nominated as one of the best supporting actors, but he's obviously a lead actor.
It almost looked like I hit you there.
So why?
Okay, so that's a great question. This actually happens a lot. And it's interesting because it's all based on who is nominated. So actors nominate other actors for these awards. And sometimes, in some situations, the actors are nominated in the award that people think they're most likely to win. But also other times, they're just acted weird places. So because of that, you do sometimes get people that are nominated as lead actors when they were barely in a film, because either their presence was big enough that other actors think they deserve that higher credential or that nomination and accolade. And other times, somebody that's a lead, like you're talking about, is nominated in a supporting role because some people might think that they have a better chance of winning in the supporting category, or they want to nominate somebody else in the lead acting category. So that's where you get a little bit of that. The 2 lead acting categories are also part of what is considered the Big 5 categories. So the other categories that are considered Big 5 are the screenplay, directing, and picture categories. But there's actually 2 best screenplay categories. Yeah, 2. Those are original screenplay and adapted screenplay. So an original screenplay is a screenplay of a story that has not been told in film before, or with wholly unique characters, things like that. An adapted screenplay is any film that is a screenplay for any film that is being adapted from characters that already exist, or a story that already exists somewhere. For example, if it has already been a movie before. So any sequel is considered an adapted screenplay because it's using the characters and the storyline from the first movie. If it's been a stage play, if it's been a book, folktale. The one iffy spot that I have personal problems with is that I think historical adaptations maybe should also be adapted. But historical films, unless they're adapting specifically a book about those events, are usually original screenplay. The last 2 categories are directing, which goes to the director of a film, who pretty much brings the whole film together, and best picture, which goes to the altogether best film of the year. For a long time, best picture and best director often went to the same film, because when you're judging the direction of a film, you're judging the entire product of that film, the entirety of it. Same as when you're doing best picture. But with best picture, because they use ranked choice voting, that doesn't necessarily lead to the best picture or the best film being the winner. It leads to the least divisive and the most agreeable or most agreed upon film for being good enough winning. The other thing that's important to know about the best picture category is that it is the only category that can have more than 5 nominees. It can have anywhere between 5 and 10. So, and beginning in the year 2022, there will always be 10 best picture nominees. That's every Academy Award category, all 23 explained. Do you have any other questions?
No. I mean, yes. Can you help me with my thing now?
Your predictions.
My ballot predictions.
In a little bit, I'm gonna like edit this video and I need to close it out, so I'm gonna close out the video now.
Okay, I'll just choose every third.
So that's the explanation for all 23 Academy Award categories. I hope that was helpful to you. Until next time, play hard and watch on.